guys, and welcome back. Well, I had watched a episode of Evil Lives Here. Now that's on ID, the Discovery Channel, and it is a series, Evil Lives Here. And on this episode, people recount their horrifying true stories about living side by side with a sociopath, friend, or family member who go on to commit murder, heinous crimes. And 9 times out of 10, they murder someone or everyone, And this one, the episode, the 4th episode of season 12. I mean, it really got to me, and I want to share this with you. And I hope when you get time, you can watch this show, because this one, like I said, it was the most traumatizing episode I ever seen. And as I said, these are real stories that people recount. And this woman who is recounting her own story, living with her husband, who was every bit of a sociopath. Her name is Faith Green. And she begins telling her story about how she first met this man whom she married. Now, she goes on to say, now, at the beginning, she says she wasn't going to cry, and she had a couple of tears to come down her face. But she recanted this story like she was reading a magazine about what happened to her, with no emotion. And, I mean, this man took so much from her. And as you're looking back, as she's telling her story, some of the things should have been complete red flags. But she kept letting this man in and out of her life. And it just was a bad decision. I mean, anyone could have seen, if they wasn't love struck, which I believe she was. I believe she saw the red flags, but she didn't want to see the red flags. She wanted this man, she wanted her marriage to last, but she had 2 other children at the time that she got with this man. And as the union kept on going, she ended up having 2 children, 2 girls by him. She already had a boy and a girl by a previous relationship, and by this guy, her ex-husband's name was Gregory Green. Now, she recants about how he, now get this, how he murdered all 4 of her children and tried to kill her as well. Now, I know she was traumatized by this, and she probably had a couple of nervous breakdowns. But this woman, she recanted this story like it was just, with no pain, with no tears. Let me say that, because I don't know what she's feeling. I think she's numb for what this guy did to her. But yeah, I want to shed light on this, because mental illness is real. And if you know the signs, which evidently she didn't, it could have saved her children's lives and what she had to go through. But she often talked about how, he was extremely, if he was happy, he was extremely happy. If he was mad, he was extremely mad. He would just throw things, get mad. If he was just hanging up a curtain and couldn't get the curtain rod, he was cussing and racing. And one of her daughters, her oldest daughter, said, "Mama, why is he so mad?" And she told the little girl, "Oh, well, some people get mad like that. It's just different reactions from different people." And this little girl wrote in her diary that, everybody thinks he's good, but this man is not good. And my mama is so obsessed over him, she can't see. And wish she couldn't. But I'm going to tell you some of the red flags she interpreted in this chill story that she tells. This man, I mean, he took everything from her. And one thing, like I said, it was red flags everywhere. So men, women, you need to learn the signs of mental illness. For example, with that in itself, if you with somebody extremely, they go from 0 to 100, that's not normal. And it could be some mental illness around. But this guy was a sociopath. And she knew that he had killed his first wife. But she didn't know the circumstances. He told her it was in self-defense. But, if I'm dating this ninja, that's the first thing I'm going to find out before I let him into my home, let him into my life, or whatever. That's a red flag. He served time in prison, and her father was a preacher, and he ran a prison ministry. So he went to the parole board after him killing his first wife, after him telling it was self-defense, which, after the death of all her children, she found out that he had lied, that his wife was like 6 months pregnant, and he stabbed her to death, and that's what he served time for. But she said she tried to look it up, but she couldn't find it. But ladies and gentlemen, everything you want to know is on Google. I mean, if you want to know if the ninja been in jail or whatever, or what, you could find it. But she didn't. And the red flags of how his temper, sometimes he would do nothing, just quiet. And he was okay, and then she'll go in the kitchen and come back, and he's just bothered, she just pisses him off. Those are some red flags. Another red flag, one time she took their daughter, just only their 2 girls, and him went on a little vacation. And while they were there at the table, he said, something to the effect of, "Oh, I wish it could be like this." And she said, "Like what?" "Just us 4. And that would have been a red flag for me. You don't want my other children? Why? She just kept telling, well, it's not 4, it's 6, and that's how it's going to be. Which, he would not respond after that, after telling her that. One day she came home, and he was sitting on the couch, and at the time she entered the door, she smelled gas. And she went immediately to the kitchen, and all the burners of the gas stove was on. And she cut them off, and her children were there, in the house. And she asked him, why was the stove on? Why, what's the gas stove on? You don't smell that gas? And he was like, oh, no, maybe the children were playing with. She said, no, the children know better to play with the stove. They never play with the stove. So, she was on him like, what? Why was the stove on? And then he confessed. He said, I was contemplating suicide. Okay. This ninja tell you he's contemplating killing himself with your children in the house, which would have been, carbon monoxide, which would have killed them too. So it's time for him to go his own ways. It was too many red flags. It was time. When you came home and this ninja had the gas stove lit on and trying to kill himself with my children in the house, it would have been, nothing. It wouldn't have been nothing he could tell me. He would have had to get gone, But, no, she was just in love. They broke up. They would get back together. This last time they broke up for about 2 years. Yes, he had been out of her life for 2 years, and it was just her and her children. Well, some way he contacted her, and she started talking to him, and he told her that he had changed, and da 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 da. She lets this guy back into her life and her children's life. And, as him moving back, and she had, had decided to get a divorce. Her divorce was in the making, but he called her, and, she called off the divorce, moved him back in, and it wasn't even 2 weeks where, again, he was up to his old ways. He was still that same psychopath, which she didn't know the signs, but she just knew that he would just sit there, watch TV. She's talking to him, he don't respond, and when she do get a reaction out of him, he's hollering, he's mad as hell, and da 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 da. Well, she let him into her life this last time, and she was awakened by him. I mean, and that was one of the things he would do. She would be asleep, and he would make her get up, and she was afraid of him. Now get this, she was afraid of him, so she went to bed with a couple of sharpened pencils. So if he were to try to do something to her, I guess she was going to poke him in the eye with a pencil. I don't know. I don't know. But no butcher knife, no gun, no nothing to put his lights out. Okay? Put him out of his misery, because it's apparent that he's a miserable human being, and anyone around him is going to be miserable. But this particular time, he woke her up out of her sleep and told her to come to the living room, and she was like, no, and he pulled her. He said, you're coming. And when she got to the living room, her oldest son was there, and he gave the oldest son some zip ties and made him zip tie his mom's hand behind her back. Okay? After the Rukas, her oldest daughter woke up, and he made the brother zip tie her hands behind her back, then tied the son's hand behind his back, and he was talking, look what you made me do. You just kept on at me. You just kept on at me. Everything was turned on her, and she didn't know what he was going to do. He made them go to the basement, and they were on their knees, and he was going back. As he went in the basement, he was going back in the garage checking on something, and she didn't know what he was doing. But he finally, he had a gun. He threatened, to make a long story short, this monster shot her son first, killing him, shot his daughter, killing her, and her sitting there watching as the breath leaves out of her children. After he shot them, he shot her. He took a box cutter, cut up her face, but she didn't die. She didn't die, but she laid there like she was dead. After that, she heard him on the phone calling 911, saying, I killed my children, I shot my wife, she's a piece of work, and she made me do it, and she just held on until she heard the police, and she called out for the police, and the police found her. They took her to the emergency room, and when she woke up, they tell her that what she already probably knew, because she was there when he shot her son and daughter, that her son and daughter was dead. Now, once she woke up from that, also she found out that this psychotic bastard had killed their 2 daughters. I mean, and they were babies. They were, I would say, it looks as though they were 3 and 5 years old. I mean, they were just little toddlers, little babies. And when he was going out the basement and kept going in the garage, he had made this makeshift where the carbon monoxide would poison the children, had the car running in the garage, and he just went to check on them to make sure that they had died. Yeah. So this man took away everything that she loved, all her children. And as he was in the interrogation room, he was telling them what he had did and was saying what kind of father would kill his children, but she's a piece of work. I didn't want to kill her because I wanted her to see what she made me do. And I mean, just evil. And it is a special place in hell for this individual. Yeah, this is him. This is the picture of the real Mr. Green. And and I know, like I said, I know this did something to her, because it looks as though she doesn't have emotion anymore. She was just telling her story with no tears, and she kind of blames her father, because after the death of her children, she finds out that the father knew he had killed his first wife, and he was the one went to the parole board and told him that he was a changed man, But and it looks as though she kind of blames her father for not telling her. But the kind of love that she was wrapped in, I mean, it wouldn't have mattered if he told her, because he didn't live with him. How did he know he wasn't changed? But you were living with him, and all these red flags was popping up everywhere, and which she even says, now that I look at it, that was a red flag, now that I look at it. So you got to know, I mean, some people are deranged, and evil lives in them and will do anything. I mean, she was blessed that he didn't take her life, but he even said he didn't take her life because he wanted her to see what she made him do. Yeah. Very, very, very sad. If you get a chance to watch this episode, Evil Lives Here, and it's on the ID channel, called A Special Place in Hell. And when you check that out if you hadn't watched it, and let me know in the comments, wasn't there enough red flags to know that something wasn't ticking them right with this man, and she should have run for the hills with her children and never brought him amongst her children, and never had children from this monster? But I want you guys to know the signs, and this is a great, it's not great, but this was a episode that really shook me. And for you to know what listen to her tell her story about this devil, this evil man. And he didn't get, I forgot how many years that he got. I know he went to prison, but he didn't get that. And he previously served 15 years in prison for killing his first wife. He never walks out that prison to get in anyone else's life, and and at one point he told her, he didn't relate to the children. When she had the girls, he wouldn't do anything. He wouldn't hold them. He wouldn't do anything. And one time he even told her, I wanted a boy, So, ladies, gentlemen, know the signs. Know the signs of mental illness. so you won't get caught up in this vicious web like this poor lady did. Yeah, her actually her little children that she shared with him was 5 and 4, and her son was 19 and her daughter was 17, who he had killed. But always flying to these rages for no logical reason. Now, why she stayed, I believe she was just blinded by love. This guy was not a bad looking man, but I mean, the things that she put up with, that these kids didn't have a chance with him, you know. Would take this man back, and he did the most unthinkable thing, killing all her children, everything that she loved. And it's like she's just broken right now. It's like she doesn't have any emotions or anything. And I'm gonna pray for her, because she definitely needs prayer after going through what she went through. I mean, the average person, someone killing all of your children, would not be able to come on TV and talk about it, you know. But watch it, then comment, we'll talk about it. Okay? Alright guys, that's it for me. Thank you so very much for watching my video. I hope that you will like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And as always important, be blessed, y'all.